a very nervous episode of Bourbon Natives. Okay, we are...
Pleased to announce we made it to Buffalo Trace.
Yep. Second episode, we're on the road. I'm Jeremy, that's Phil. We're on location in an Airbnb in Frankfort, Kentucky. Took the trip down to Whiskey Row. I mean, is that the name?
Bourbon Trail.
Bourbon Trail? Because Whiskey Row is just in Louisville.
Louisville.
Louisville? Or if you grew up in the north, it was always Louisville, like Louisville Slugger. I've been very much brought to my attention that it's Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Louisville.
Well, yeah, we came down to do some touring, check out distilleries, check out the Whiskey Trail, Bourbon Trail, whatever that's called. And we had appointments to do the Buffalo Trace tour, so not the hard hat tour, but the Buffalo Trace tour. And each day, I mean, you guys can look this up online. They rotate what they're going to sell that day. So it was a whole process. They open at 9, but you can line up. I don't know if they restrict what time you get there.
There was a good amount of people there when we got there.
We got there at 8:30.
Yeah.
So just half an hour early.
And some of them look pretty cold, like they've been there for quite a while. The first people in line.
Mm-hmm. And there are websites that predict, because it's either Eagle Rare, Weller Special Reserve, the Green Label, Blanton's, or Taylor, right? There's only 4?
Taylor, yep.
Okay.
H. Taylor.
And, okay. So they rotate through those, but not straight. It's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
So there's websites that predict what the next day is going to be based on previous days. So when you line up, like you have an idea of what you might get at retail price, obviously, because you're buying it right from BT. But the day we got there ended up being Eagle Rare. So that's what we're drinking today, is Eagle Rare that we picked up right from the distillery. In my opinion, bang for the buck. Like it's $40 retail, secondary $80 to $90, which is not a huge markup. But $40 for a 10-year is just ridiculously good.
Yeah. Like Jeremy said, bang for your buck. This is smooth, tasty, good follow through, worth every bit of the $40.
Yeah, I think the reason, like if you talk about Eagle Rare, Blanton's, which our first episode was all the Blanton's lineup. The Blanton's markup is you're talking $70 retail. I'm trying not to hit the table because we learned a lot from the first episode. Like no banging the table, no slamming phones down. So we're gonna try to be better. From the first episode, the Blanton's it's $70 retail. The aftermarket is way higher. I think part of that's the hunt. And then when you talk about Wellers are 40 to 60 retail, but like CYPB's aftermarket is 800 to 900 because it's the closest thing to Pappy. The fact that this markup isn't higher is, I know some people don't want to talk about it because like, oh no, then you can't get it. And then you make, like when you make something popular, like what happened with McKenna 10,
Yep.
It went from 50 to now it's
like almost 70, isn't it? For about
it's 70 now.
Something, 69, 68.
Yeah, for MSRP, but it's that where like you don't talk about, like, I want to keep this bourbon a secret. like there's going to be, but like, there's other distilleries that need the business. I don't think BTAC needs the business. Or Buffalo Trace, I said BTAC. But the fact that the markup on this isn't higher really blows my mind.
Yeah, we learned a lot. How do I want to say this? We learned, don't twirl it like you do a wine. But I've seen so many people, even ambassadors of other whiskey companies, bourbon companies, they'll swirl it to get their nose fill, and we're still torn. Sometimes we do it. We do it once without swirling it.
And I don't, the first episode we filmed was about an hour and 45 minutes. I edited it out about an hour. Like we cut down from an hour 45 to 45 minutes. So I don't remember what we talked about and what I've cut. as far as like swirling and such. But yeah, I don't remember if I cut it from previous. How I've had owners tell me to swirl it, but this Tory's like, you don't swirl it because that's all you're going to get is alcohol. It's
Right.
not like a wine. It's a nice nose.
Yeah. Yeah, to me, it's personal preference. Do it without swirling it. Swirl it. See what you get that's different. You know what I mean? Do like Jeremy's doing, aerating it, trying to get some airflow to go over it.
Yeah, if I stick my nose right in there, you're going to get more of everything. So higher proof, I mean, you're going to burn your nose hairs. It's like, it's fruit, like, fruity for a bourbon first on the nose. Wood, like wood and fruit.
Yeah, you can tell it's got some age to it. A slight oakiness, you know. Not like some others that are 10 or 12 year where the oak is really prevalent.
Yeah, I got an oak finish. But like, cherry up front.
Yeah. Get a fruit.
Not sweet, like an... Well, it is, yeah, sweet for a bourbon, not like an Angel's Envy. Like, Angel's Envy to me is like really, really sweet. Oaky finish, but it's like... It drops off. It doesn't linger on the palate.
And this
too
is
much.
a rye mash bill, right?
I don't know. I don't think it is.
Well, it's not like wheated because it's not as sweet as a 10-year wheated.
Right. It's not the wheated Weller / Pappy mash bill. I think it's mash bill 1, and then mash bill 2 is the...
I think I took a picture of that. We'll have to add some pictures to this
I'm
video.
pretty sure it's mash bill 1, which is like what people speculate, like 2 to 4% less wheat than rye than mash bill 2. And the mash bill 2 is the Blanton's mash bill. It's good. It's for $40, you could go a lot more wrong.
Right. Yeah, I've paid more for some bourbons that aren't as good. The name being hard to find. And
so we went at 8:30, doors open at 9. I'd like to educate the people a little bit because before this trip, we're looking at websites. You're looking at Reddit. The worst place to look is fucking Google Maps. Because if you look at this place on Google Maps, just even like how to drive there, and like every building is pinned and has a rating, and it's full of pictures that aren't of that goddamn building. And like, don't look at Google Maps to try to figure out like, where do I go to get Pappy? Like there's a Pappy building pinned there that even shouldn't even be on there because you can't buy anything from there. The only building you can buy stuff from is the gift shop. There's other buildings that are part of tours, and even if you're not on a tour, you can walk around. But let me go back. Like the first thing we lined up at 8:30, and then you got to go through a building and get a wristband. Like if you don't have a wristband, you can't even walk on the grounds. We're learning that the hard. We got redirected.
day 2, right? Or day 3?
Day 2. Not on the first trip. We knew the lineup because we were going to buy, and then we went back because there's some landmarks, I guess you call them, that we missed. So we were just going to walk in because we weren't going to do the tour. We weren't going to buy anything. And we got redirected. Like, no, everybody on the property needs to have a wristband. So you have to wait in a first line, and they scan your driver's license, and they link that. The wristband has like a RFID or chip or something in it.
Yeah.
And they link your license to that. So even to walk around the grounds, you need a wristband. And then to buy, like if you're going to buy would you call it an allocated of the day?
Yeah, the release of the day, I would say.
Yeah. I think that's what the sign says, actually, the release of the day. They actually scan that wristband, and you're only allowed one release bottle every 90 days.
Right.
So basically, you can't scalp and make a living off it because you could only do one Eagle Rare every 90 days, and then one Taylor every 90 days, and one Special Reserve. I don't know who would be scalping Special Reserve, but only one of those per 90 days. And since your wristband is linked to your driver's license, you can't go in there 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and scalp them, which is cool.
Yeah, I couldn't go in next week and get another Eagle Rare.
Right. You have to wait 3 months. So you walk right up, and they had a whole wall. We got a ton of pictures. We'll throw pictures in. They have a whole wall. You just take it off the wall and put it in your cart and walk around by. They have other stuff that's not release. Like they had a Manhattan mix, Buffalo Trace. Like if you want to just buy Buffalo Trace, there's no limit on that.
Right.
You can go in and buy as much Buffalo Trace as you want.
Travelers. They had travelers there.
Yep.
They had a tasting table in the back for travelers.
I think they're having a hard time selling that. It's always on the shelf in Illinois.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, was it Chris Stapleton? They made a deal with something with Chris Stapleton and come up with travelers.
His blend that he, whatever, curated or developed with the distiller. But yeah, you can go in, you scan your wristband. They scan your wristband when you go to checkout. And there was a guy in line behind us that didn't. I guess he completely skipped the wristband process. So he went up to the register. He had an Eagle Rare in his cart, or his basket, whatever you want to call it. He could buy everything else in the basket, but he didn't have a wristband on. And they said, you can't buy the Eagle Rare. You got to go back up. And we went on a Thursday. We lined up early. 100% didn't have to do that.
No.
Because it was, I think their hours are 9 to 4. And we went early because we lined up fearing that they would run out of whatever the release of the day was. Came back to the Airbnb, had breakfast, went back for our tour, which was later in the day, and then putzed around until like 3, and the wall was still full of Eagle Rare.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of happy people that worked there. They were steadily filling the wall. As soon as they had an opening, they were putting product out there. Even the shoppers were nice. We didn't have any, like, nobody was pushing anybody out of the way. Everybody was just considerate, happy to be able to get something that they can't find at the local liquor store.
That's a good point. Like, it wasn't like, it felt like Black Friday.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, but everybody was happy.
A lot of people, like, you had to line up, but it was organized. Like, you raised a really good point. The employees were happy. It was a well-oiled machine, but it's gotta be like Black Friday to them every single day of the year of like herding these people through. But once we were in there, it's a huge gift shop.
Yeah,
it's huge. We when we stopped in Louisville to the Old Forester gift shop, it's just a gift shop, but it's moderately sized. This one had to be 3 or 4 times the size of that.
Oh yeah. They had 10 times the merchandise.
Yeah, every line. Like, if you want an Eagle Rare shirt, a Blanton shirt, a Buffalo Trace shirt, Pappy shirts, Traveler shirts, they had shirts, bar mats, for every single thing they sell. And people weren't, to get back to the point, they weren't, like, you weren't elbowing people to get something.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like some sort of nightmare where you're going to throw a shoulder check to get a bottle. There was a throng of people, for sure, but it was not competitive.
Yeah.
And we got our bottles, went back here, had breakfast, went back for the tour. The tour was really cool. I mean, I highly recommend, and it's free. The tour is free, but you have to, they release so many tours, like ahead of
Appointment
time.
times?
Yeah. So you have to book them because they fill up.
Yeah, JD was pretty good.
Oh yeah, our tour guide.
Tour
JD.
guide.
Yep. And it was, so the Trace tour, they say that there's a hard hat tour, which is a lot of stairs and up and down. I'm betting that's going to be more of the distillery part. We didn't do that. We did the Trace tour. It was almost all outside, and we were here in December, so be aware of that. I think only like small portions, like we walked through the building where they bring in the barrels.
The Rick House.
But yeah,
No, you're talking about where they unload the barrels, bring them in, and then they'll send them to whatever buildings they're going to fill. One building, and then they'll send them to whatever rick house they're going to store the product in, which was pretty neat, their system. They were on barrel 1,500 coming in,
of
empty
the day.
barrel
Yeah, of the day.
at
Yeah.
one something.
I've never seen a guy drive a forklift that fast. He's like, and they grab 2 at a time, and he's in the truck, grabs 2, comes back, dumps it, and it was fast. I'm gonna try. Maybe I'll try to insert the video. Well, I don't know if I can.
I don't know if you can insert the video, but
Yeah,
you might be able to put links to other videos.
probably. Well, what's that? That card says no drone.
Right.
Did it say anything about photography or? But yeah, there's the new barrels coming in, and then they walk you to where they dump the barrels, which was really cool. And then we went into a rick house. It's like to feel the temperature and see all the barrels. But if you, like I said before, if you go to Google Maps, one of the locations that says like, this is the Pappy Van Winkle, they show a picture of the dump house. Like, people have been crossing pictures of what's what. And none of them are different. It's not like you can drive up to just the Rick House or
Yeah, I
just
can't.
Warehouse H.
I can't read any of that, but
Botanical Gardens? Well, there's the visitor parking lot. There's where you drive up from the road. That's Warehouse H. That's the shop where you get your wristband. That's a Rick House. That's the gift shop. But this up here, like on Google Maps, this building up here is labeled like Pappy Van Winkle. And on the card, it is Stony Point Botanical Gardens. And like the reviews say, one of the most starred or liked reviews says like, show up here midday and ask for Pappy and they'll give you some. It's the Botanical Gardens. Like that is not a Pappy building. Like I'd have a mind to like mark it as closed on Google. I'm like this is wrong. And like all the pictures in there are like the dump house,
right?
a different building. It's just so yeah. Don't look at Google reviews. Definitely. I mean, if you got the time to come down to Kentucky, it was a cool tour. And the fungus on everything.
Yeah, making everything black. The trees, the buildings, the bushes.
Telephone poles. Every surface had this black fungus that is it feeds off the bourbon fumes or what? And they don't scrape it off because they said it's not hurting anything. They could scrape it off, but 3 weeks later it'll be back. So it's just like a losing process.
It's not a harmful fungus, so we were told.
So I wanted to lick the building though, because you think about it, like they talk about the loss of the evaporation from the barrels, and that's going to somewhere, and then you look at the building and it's like all those bricks had to have absorbed so much bourbon. I mean,
You know, like the floor. I don't know why. Like the barrels have to leak some, right?
yeah, like you see it between. If you look at a barrel, it almost looks like that black gooey between the staves. So I mean, that's got to be. I don't know. I don't know the science around it. Oh, but yeah, Eagle Rare. Yeah, buy it.
Yeah, definitely buy it.
It's even. I'd even dare say secondary market's not. If you can get 80 to 90, that's not bad. I mean, it's not great.
If you like Blanton's, you're looking for Blanton's. Can't find Blanton's. To me, the next best thing for the dollar is Eagle Rare. I'm not saying it tastes like Blanton's. It's different, unique in its own way. But
Sweeter.
yeah, if you can find it, get it. You won't be disappointed. And it makes great Christmas gifts.
It is a pretty bottle. Like you got the foil. The label's cool with the eagle on the inside. A couple of things from our tour. So the Blanton's warehouse. To throw back to our first episode. Warehouse H, where Blanton's H, is the only metal-sided building on the campus, and it's bright orange. Like if you would call the Golden Gate Bridge orange, it's like that weird color.
Yeah, I think they painted that color to kind of match the brick buildings.
Oh,
But
I
over
didn't think about
time,
that.
the two aren't the same color.
Yeah.
Over time.
So it's like this weird, yeah, like fake brick Golden Gate Bridge orange. It's the only metal-sided rick house, and that was on purpose. Colonel Blanton wanted, because it heats up faster in the summer, in the daytime, cools down faster at night, to give you the fluctuations. So I've always heard, and you know, the temperature fluctuations is what make Blanton so good. And then you want a higher Rick number because then it's higher up and you get higher highs of temperature and lower lows. But then we went to a brick Rick house, and our tour guide JD said, first off, well, let me finish. God, I'm hopping around. Christ. In the brick Rick house, where the temperature is more stable, they only open the windows in May, and then they keep them open till October when they shut them. The stuff on the top floor of the Rick house, where it stays warmest, is going to be Benchmark. The middle was crap. What was the middle? It was Benchmark up top, and then the middle was something else, and then the bottom.
Buffalo Trace.
The middle was Buffalo Trace. Okay.
And the bottom was like the E.H. Taylor's or Eagle Rare.
Yeah. So it was more desirable to be on the bottom. So it's like and I asked specifically, I asked the tour guide, like, wait a minute. Everything I've always heard is like, you want the higher rec number for Blanton's. And he goes, well, Blanton's is a whole other animal. A direct quote is what JD said, because it's a metal rick house. It's smash bill number 2. But everything else, every other rick house on the property, and there's 40 of them they're up to now, that are all brick buildings. Lower is more desirable to keep it. They want to be right at 45 degrees.
Yeah, no lower than 45. I think he said 40. The process is stopped. So they pump in steam to keep it at 45 or above, like minimum of 40
Right. And that's
through
what
the winter.
Taylor developed that. Is that what he said, right?
Yep.
Yeah, each Taylor learned that at under 45 degrees, the barrel stops interacting with the char. You could lose time. You could be in the warehouse for 12 months, but 3 of those 12 months, if it's under 45 degrees, you're not making any progress. So he pumped the steam through to keep everything at least 45 degrees. But even then, the lower is more desirable, like cool, dark place, so to speak. It's just odd to me that you flip it in a metal rick house and you want fluctuations. I still can't wrap my head around that.
Yeah, how one bourbon's different than the others, right?
Right. Like all the other bourbons, they want constant, cool, dry. But Blanton's, they want the building to heat up and cool down. And he explained that it was when Prohibition first ended. And he said they made it out of metal because he needed the wood for the barrels? Is that what he said? Or there was a reason for the building to be metal. But as a side effect, it is more affected by daylight versus nighttime.
Yeah, so by accident,
Right.
you realized it made it better.
Yeah, but a cool tour, free tour, with a tasting at the end. That wasn't all. It was a vodka.
Oh yeah,
It was weird.
they have a Clix. It's a vodka that's filtered 159 times, which is the word Roman numeral CLIX is 159. Filtered 159 times. Then they have one that's filtered 100 times.
Century.
Right.
But they
had some other stuff too that we didn't like normally see. Well, like I didn't know they made vodka.
Yeah, well, it's Wheatley vodka.
Wheatley. Yep. That was another product you could get.
Because the tasting was Wheatley vodka, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare, Sazerac Rye. I've already blocked it from my brain.
Right.
Like I didn't want to.
Yeah, Sazerac.
And then the bourbon cream, and then root beer.
Oh yeah, Freddy's root beer.
Freddy's root beer.
And the root beer and the bourbon cream go well together.
Yeah, and they said like try because I mean the tastings are tiny. It's a little plastic cup. It said drink half the bourbon cream, save the other half, try the root beer, and then dump them together for like a root beer float, which was really damn good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was supposed to give up my bourbon cream, but I ended up drinking it with my root beer.
It's full of pores and his arm sticks. Maybe I need to speak about the tablecloth a little.
No, that's an inside joke.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just ignore the Barbie tablecloth. But yeah, our tour guide JD had an idea, a suggestion that we've totally stolen. Like if you go to some really good distilleries, you'll find like a bottle that's signed by the master distiller or the owner or what have you, and it's cool to have. It's a cool collectible. But he brought up a point is whenever someone comes to his house, and Phil and I do the same thing. If you come to my house, you can drink any bourbon you want. You can try and like Mi Casa Su Casa, the cabinet's open. That's why we have it. We're not like look at it. You can't touch it.
Yeah, we're not collecting it.
Right. But what he does, he asks his visitors to sign his bottle. So he has a bottle that like, like me and Phil and my father or like all my high school buddies, like, so he has his guests sign the bottles and then you have like a keepsake, which is a cool idea. Like, hey, we finished this bottle or this was, after my son's graduation or whatever. It's a cool idea. So we're totally stealing it.
Yeah, we started already.
Yeah, we started. And yeah, I'm now going to have to carry a silver Sharpie around because you can still see the black. And even when it's empty, you'll see it even more. But it was a really neat idea. And yeah, I wanted to advertise that. Yeah, JD, or Jody, I think I heard some of the coworkers calling him JD, some calling him Jody. Really knowledgeable, good guy. And that idea that we're stealing, but it's JD's idea.
Yeah, an ex-highway patrolman, California Chip highway patrolman.
I forgot about that. Yeah. And doing this in retirement.
Retired and loving his job.
Who wouldn't? Checked out some other really good one. We're going to do an episode. RD1. Good God. Why are more people
a gem.
not know?
A definite gem.
Again, like I know some people want to keep things a secret. Like, shh, this is the bourbon I don't. RD1 deserves all the attention. my God, and it was in Lexington, so it was about 20-30 minute drive from where we are in Frankfort. Totally worth it. And a cool little, right, well, they're building another building, but where they are now is this, a factory that's been renovated, would you say?
Yeah.
And all bunch of little shops and restaurants and a really cool space. And not bad to walk around because it was 55 today versus 30 yesterday. Yeah, Eagle Rare, definitely a buy. Like, I wouldn't pass on it.
Yeah, I was surprised. First time I had it, I was like, wow, this is really good for $40.
I'll admit the first time I tried it, I didn't like it. But I was still, I tried this when I was probably my first year drinking bourbon. Like, right, Angel's Envy was like, oh, that's the best right now. Like, oh, I love Angel's Envy. I love the sweet stuff. I was still making old fashions a lot. I hadn't, I almost gave my bottle away because I knew people liked it. And I was like, I got a friend named Brad. I've got an open bottle and an open bottle. I'm going to keep the open, obviously. I was going to gift him the unopened. But I waited. I gave myself about a year.
Right.
And then I went back to it.
And that's what they say. People that start out drinking wine start out with a sweet wine and then end up in a Merlot, the drier wines. Same with your bourbon. Your palate changes. You know, your tastes, what you find more enjoyable changes over time. I mean, I wouldn't mix this with Coke. This is great to drink just straight by itself. You know, if you wanted to mix something with Coke, go back to Jack Daniels.
Red
that
Stag.
goes well with Coke.
I like Red Stag with Coke. You get like
Red
a cherry
Stag
Coke.
and Coke.
Yeah, cherry Coke.
Might go good in a birch beer or something just because it's different. But it's to me, it's better to drink neat. No need to water it down. No need to mix it with anything. It's just smooth. I mean, it's got some bite to it for the proofing, but it finishes smooth.
What proof is this?
I think it's 198.
It's not a
90
bottle.
proof,
90
45
proof.
alcohol, so 90 proof.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have thought 90. It's a bit stingier. It's not a bottle and bond. It is a 10-year.
But I've tasted higher proofs that didn't have as much bite as this 90 does. That's what I said, bang for your buck. You get the heat. You know, if you like that for drinking bourbon, you get the smoothness. It finishes well. There's no aftertaste. You don't have the oak tannins for being a 10-year that just kind of dry your mouth out, for lack of better terms, you know?
Like little bit of wood up front on the taste, sweetness.
Yeah.
Doesn't linger on the palate. I wouldn't call it oaky. Just a little bit of wood. No nuttiness. No.
Yeah, I don't get nuts.
No leather. No nuts. No cracked pepper. Like, it's not spicy. It's not.
Yeah, if there's rye in the mash bill, I think maybe because of the bite you get, not because of the alcohol, but the taste. You have to look at that and see
I
what
do
Google
get a
says.
weird. I mean, my glass is empty now, but a weird medicinal note on the nose. I didn't see my glass is empty as in Phil. I need to know.
Right? Your glass should never be empty until you're done.
We may be done. We have certainly tested our livers with this trip to Frankfurt.
Yeah. The next one will be about the... Nah, we won't even say how much money we spent. We'll forget about that.
No. I don't want to know.
And the Buffalo Trace, none of it was expensive. Like these mats, to me, they were reasonably priced. Everything, to me, was reasonably priced. I mean, there were a set of glasses that were lead crystal. You know, if you want to spend the money and get those, hey, by all means. But I drop a lot of shit. So I'm not spending $90 on a glass just so I can drop it and break it and my wife get mad at me. So...
Oh, so speaking of, when we got the Eagle Rare, that was the release of the day. You get one bottle every 90 days. They were also selling Eagle Rare glasses, like a lowball glass.
Yeah.
It like for a steep discount.
What were they?
They're normally $35.
And I think they were crystal.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll be right back. And this is a lead crystal. And it says Eagle Rare.
Hold on a second. You just started again?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. This is a lead crystal, and it says Eagle Rare on it. But I'm not using it because I'll drop it and break it.
Right. So because Eagle Rare was the release that day, they were selling these for, they're normally 35, they were selling them for I think 20 or 15. Like it was a steep discount. And they had like a guy, like a peddler. He's like, they're going to sell out, folks. Get these now while they're hot.
Nice and heavy. I mean,
Oh, Jesus, you almost just dropped. Yeah, it's got a good weight to it. So because Eagle Rare was the release that day, they were selling Eagle Rare glass. I can't say those words. Eagle Rare glasses. We went back today just to see what the release was. It was Blanton's today. So instead of selling glasses, they were selling the 50 milliliter Blanton's bottle for $5.
yeah, they're cool.
Those are neat, and they're normally 20. And you can go to the website. You can buy them for $20 all day, every day, selling them for $5. So I'm assuming every day, whatever the release is, they also sell a.
Sorry about that.
We're getting better. We're getting better with the microphone awareness.
Sound like a duck.
So they must sell an item for a steep discount depending on what the release is. But like what Phil was saying, like the mats were $20 a piece every day. You know, regardless if it was the square mat or the bar rail.
Yeah, they had E.H. Taylor, Weller,
Stag.
Eagle Rare, Blanton's, Stag. They had some Pappy stuff, but like I was looking for Pappy glasses because I have an anniversary coming up. And I just thought it'd be cool to drink the Pappy in a Pappy glass. No, they didn't have them.
They had Rip Van Winkle,
Right.
but not Pappy, which is not Pappy Van Winkle. So they had old Rip Van Winkle glasses, but not the logo of Pappy with the cigar that you see on the 15, 20, and the 23. No. You could get that on a hat, I think.
Yeah.
But most of the stuff was old Rip Van Winkle branded. And honestly, not a lot of people buying that stuff. I didn't see a lot of people
I've
mingling.
seen people
in
looking at it, but people, when we were checking out and stuff like that, I didn't see a lot of Pappies. I saw a lot of Eagle Rare, Blantons. Had to wait for a couple of gentlemen to get out of the way. They were trying to decide whether Weller or E.H. Taylor. They actually got on the phone to talk to whomever, I guess, to help make the decision of maybe what the other person wanted.
Of like merchandise?
Yeah, like which mat to buy.
Oh, okay.
They just couldn't decide. And I had a hard time deciding because I like Weller, I like E.H. Taylor, I like Eagle Rare. So this visit I kept with the Eagle Rare with the bottle and the glasses, and next visit will be something different.
It's real easy to spend money in there. And also if you're thinking like I didn't spend anything for the tour, I mean you can buy bottles, obviously. You can buy actual alcohol. But it's run really well. And like we went to Old Forester. I think I got some merch, not a ton. I've been to Evan Williams in Louisville. Louisville, I said it. It's just a very small gift shop. This place was huge and reasonably priced. Like I think the most expensive thing I saw was like anything that was like Nike.
And the clicks.
Well, the Clicks is $300 a bottle. Yeah, like clothing wise, like it was a Nike. Then they put their label on it, so you're paying for Nike on top of, just good stuff. So just a quick episode on the road. Wanted to show the spoils of our release, and shocking that they had it all day long. Like we've heard stories that the release of the day is gone by 10 a.m.
Yeah, their site has a prediction. They show you what's released that day, and I don't know what time it's updated, I guess after they open. Then they have a prediction of what's going to be available tomorrow, and it was spot on.
Like the actual Buffalo Trace website, or is this someone else?
No, it's the Buffalo Trace website. The Buffalo Trace website it says prediction or historical data or releases, like it'll show you what was released up to today, you know what I mean, historical data wise. And then they'll have a prediction, which is, I'm assuming based on like what they've released in the past, you know, like, I don't know, they had like today was, I think today was Weller Special Reserve was at like 36 or 37%, and Blanton's was at like 46%. You know, they were what they assumed was the prediction. You know, 46% of the people or data showed that it would be Blanton's today. 36 or 38 was Weller Special Reserve, and then E.H. Taylor was like 1 or 3%. You know, it just went down from there.
1 or 3.
Yeah, because the day before Eagle Rare was E.H. Taylor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool space. Cool tour. Good history of it all. There's a neat history lesson about Frankfort and what started out as Lee Town.
Right.
And the naming and how all the names that that you're reading on the bottles, how they were related, like who Blanton was and how he got into it, who Taylor is, who George T. Stagg is, and how George T. Stagg and Taylor hate each other, and like I'm sure you can Google it, and look it all up.
Yeah.
But yeah, the history behind the names and what happened and what they did during Prohibition, before and after, and who survived and who didn't. Definitely cool.
Was it 1887? The recession of 1887 or something?
Yeah, he was saying like 1887 or 1877. But I thought, well, the stock market crash was 1920 something, right?
Yeah, that's something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. And then the recession that hit before Prohibition affected them greatly, and the town as a
Yeah,
whole.
it's because he pretty much tore down everything and started over.
Yeah.
E.H. Taylor, right?
Yeah. Well, Taylor was the banker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he put a lot of money into it. He didn't have all his eggs in one basket, but he did struggle financially, and then that's when Lee came in. Stagg, right? George Stagg.
Yeah, they were saying Taylor was a banker. He saw all the distillers coming in with money and was like, oh, there's money in this.
Right.
Started buying everything up. But they explained that Taylor, like he had to have 12 different suits, and he always had to have the newest.
Oh, yeah.
Like he spent money on himself. So when
he changed suits like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah. So when he got thin and the recession hit, Stagg walked in and bought everything up. So then he became the president, and Taylor didn't like answering to somebody else. So they made the joke that even in the building, their faces are not looking at each other,
right.
like 100
Their
years
portraits,
after. Yeah.
Their portraits aren't looking at each other.
But yeah, Eagle Rare thumbs up.
Yep.
And we got more stuff for more episodes. We're gonna do an RD1. That was awesome. We stopped at Castle and Key, so we're gonna do.
It's unique. I don't know if that should be next because it's kind of a spin-off of this one.
Right.
Without giving anything away.
Yeah. And good Lord, driving to Castle and Key is like putting your life in your own hands. Wow. Like, I can't. I know they don't get snow down here often, but that was a drive.
Because you're from the north.
That was like
a narrow road. Yep, it's a back road.
It was like a one-lane road, sometimes around a hill, and there were semis coming once in a while.
Dump trucks.
Yeah, dump trucks, like asphalt trucks,
semi-trucks, asphalt trucks.
It was. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that drive some more in the Castle and Key episode. That was not for the faint of heart. And all of a sudden, boom! There's the distillery, just there, and we missed it. Had to turn around, like
the parking, right?
Yeah, you missed the parking lot. I had to make a U-turn on a road I did not want to make a U-turn on. I didn't know if someone was going to come around the corner. But yeah, that was a very cool historical space. Yeah, if you like the show, check us out on, we have a Patreon set up. If you want to just say, hey, $5, $10 tip to show you appreciate the show, we'll use it toward the show. Equipment, getting our podcast up on the different platforms, put it all right back in the show. We're not going to put it into bourbon. The bourbon we drink is of our own collections that we're fortunate enough to find and share the experiences with you guys. The money that we get, we put right back into the show to help us produce it, to air it, get it out to you guys faster, have you guys interact with each other. We have the Discord set up. So if you're a Patreon member, you get access to a Discord channel. They can talk to each other. We have different channels set up for if you scored a bottle, you don't have to tell people where you got it from or how much you spent on it.
Yeah, and by the time the other people get there, it'll be gone anyway. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I see a lot of Facebook groups where it's like there's a Chicago Facebook bourbon group and people like, I scored a bottle and everyone's all pissed off. Like, why don't you tell us where you got it from? Like, well, like your point, by the time you find out, it's gone.
Right.
But they kind of leave hints, like they'll have it in a grocery cart right next to like a Jewel Osco cake. It's like, well, obviously you got it at Jewel, but which Jewel? Why didn't you tell me? Who cares? It's not going to be there. And also, you're not going to be glued to Facebook. But yeah, it's cool if someone scored like, hey, I got something at retail that you normally don't see at retail. It's like bottle score, bottle kill. If you kill a bottle, condolences, sir. Like, this is the bottle we killed. This is the phone we had. And also, with the higher Patreon tiers, there's a special channel that you can enter, and we're going to be posting our polls there of what episode should we do next. And people can vote of, between whatever 4 or 5 options of what we got coming up. What do you guys want to see? So yeah, interact with each other. We're hoping this takes off. And we're not, either one of us aren't under the illusion that we're going to retire off of this. This ain't.
No. We just enjoyed sharing some of the things that we run across. There's people out there that can't find Eagle Rare, never heard of it.
Or if they do find it, like, do I want to spend $90 for it? Right. Is it worth? Because that's not a small amount of money. That's not, it's a good chunk of change. And we're not going to bullshit people like, oh, I get notes of. It's not. We're trying not to be pretentious. We're not trying to profit. For our common man take of what we've been lucky enough to find, to get it back to you guys. And if you're kind enough to tip us a donation in return, then we can increase the distribution of the podcast, get it to more ears, and have more people find out about some lesser known stuff or what to avoid. We're going to do episodes where we're going to do some shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did we buy this? I don't know.
There's a couple.
Yep.
Some beer makers should not be making bourbon. There's the tease. But yeah, you want to send us out? Thank the audience, or?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Catch you later.